The 5-minute mindset shift that will change your life forever. You are not broken. You are not behind. You are not lost. You are simply one decision away from remembering who you are. Every empire was once an idea. Every revolution began with a whisper. Every great life started as a single flicker of thought, a stubborn refusal to believe the current reality was the final one. In the deepest chambers of your mind lives a power so profound, most die having never touched it. Not because it's hidden, but because it's silent. It doesn't scream for attention. It doesn't beg to be used. It waits, like a lion in the tall grass, watching, waiting for you to claim it. That power is the power of your mindset. The truth is brutal and simple. You do not attract what you want. You attract what you are. And what you are, who you become, is dictated by one thing: the lens through which you see the world. Now, this lens can be forged in chaos or clarity, in pain or purpose, in failure or faith. But what most never realize is this: you can change that lens in an instant, not with a new job, not with more money, not with praise or applause, but with a single thought. A 5-minute shift in mindset that unchains the soul and sets fire to every excuse holding you back. Edison failed 10,000 times and called each one a stepping stone. Carnegie was born dirt poor but refused to be defined by it. Lincoln faced depression, ridicule, defeat, and still rose. Not because they were born different, but because they decided differently. You don't need another motivational quote. You don't need another guru, another checklist. You need a moment. A fire-starting, soul-awakening, blood-boiling moment of clarity where everything slows down and the truth stares you in the face. You have been hypnotized by limitation, conditioned by failure, and trained to expect less. But not anymore. Because right now, if you choose, you can kill the old self. Not tomorrow, not next year, but now. The self that waits for permission, the self that hesitates, the self that seeks validation, approval, applause. You don't need it. You never did. The world lied to you, but now you see. And the second you see, you cannot unsee. Understand this. Your mind is not a mirror. It is a magnet. It does not reflect reality. It creates it. And what it creates is rooted in the beliefs you permit to live inside it. A man who believes he's a victim becomes one. A woman who believes she's worthy transforms nations. Your reality bends to your conviction like steel and fire. The greatest minds in history were not the smartest. They were the most certain. They walked into storms with eyes wide open and jaws clenched with purpose. They were told no more times than they were told yes. And they used each rejection as rocket fuel. So I ask you, what story have you been telling yourself? I can't. I'm too late. I'm not ready. That is the language of decay. Change it. Because here's what they won't teach you in school. Clarity is not found. It is chosen. And the clearest minds aren't born that way. They're made, hammered in the forge of decision, one blow at a time. Decision is the origin of greatness, not talent, not inheritance, not even intelligence. Decision. The man who decides to win will win, even if it takes him a decade. The woman who decides to rise will rise, even if the world tries to bury her. Because once the mind makes a true decision, reality begins to shape itself to match. This isn't philosophy, this is law. The law of the mind. You see, your thoughts are architects. Your beliefs are blueprints. And your actions, they are the bricks that build the life you live. Change the blueprint and you change the building. But most people never pick up the pen. They walk around living in someone else's architecture, their parents, their culture, their past. Not you, not anymore. Because in this 5-minute shift, you are waking up. Not gradually, violently, like a thunderclap in the night sky, like lightning splitting a tree in half. Let the old self fall. Let the illusions burn. Let every excuse rot in the shadows where it belongs. You are not here to survive. You are here to build. You are not here to cope. You are here to conquer. You are not here to ask life for favors. You are here to take what is yours by divine right, by soul's command, by the fire in your chest that refuses to die. What separates the extraordinary from the ordinary? Not background, not luck, not genetics. It is belief. Ruthless, unshakable, obsessive belief. Henry Ford once said, "Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right." He wasn't being clever. He was revealing a secret. The world does not respond to potential. It responds to energy, to certainty. To the man or woman who walks into a room and bends the air around them with sheer will. That is the shift from passive to aggressive, from hoping to knowing, from waiting to moving. Because here's another truth. The moment you shift your mindset, life shifts with you. You are not a tree. You are not rooted. You were born to move. And movement is the language of life. Stagnation is the death of the soul. Every time you choose belief over doubt, you move. Every time you act in faith before proof, you move. Every time you do what must be done, even when you feel like quitting, you move. And in that movement, the universe moves with you. The greatest lie ever sold is that you must wait. Wait to feel ready. Wait for support. Wait for the fear to go away. But the fear doesn't leave. It follows. It follows you until you teach it that you're the one in charge. Let me be clear. Fear is not the enemy. Fear is the signal. It tells you where the treasure is buried. It points like an arrow to your destiny. You run toward it, not away from it. Because right behind fear is freedom. The mountain is not in your way. It is the way. It is the fire that forges your focus. It is the test life throws at all who would dare to rise, not to stop you, but to sharpen you. And once your mind shifts, once the switch is flipped and the old voice dies, the mountain begins to crumble. Because mindset is not about thinking positive. It's not about lying to yourself with pretty affirmations. It's about seeing the truth so clearly the lies can't survive. The truth is this: discipline is freedom. Clarity is power. Responsibility is strength. And comfort? Comfort is the cage. The average person worships comfort like a god. They avoid pain like it's poison. But pain is not poison. Pain is the sculptor. It carves the weak parts away. Thomas Edison didn't light the world by staying comfortable. Oprah didn't build an empire by staying quiet. Disney didn't create magic by following rules. They lived in discomfort. They breathed discipline. They chose vision over convenience. And that's the shift that changes everything. When you stop chasing comfort and start chasing clarity. Clarity of who you are. Clarity of where you're going. Clarity of what you will no longer tolerate. You can be broke, lost, rejected, laughed at, and still win. Because success does not begin in the bank account. It begins in the mind. When a man sees himself as powerful, he becomes powerful. When a woman speaks as if she cannot be defeated, life eventually listens. But you must declare it first, not to the world, to yourself. Because self-talk is not self-help. It is self-creation. Your words are spells. Every I am is an act of magic. Say I'm tired, and your body obeys. Say I'm unstoppable, and your future begins to shift. It sounds simple because it is. But simple is not easy. It requires intention. It requires vigilance. It requires waking up every day and rejecting the identity the world tries to stamp on you. You are not average. You are not your mistakes. You are not the story others wrote about you. You are the author. And the pen is in your hands right now. Burn this into your bones. You do not get what you want. You get what you are willing to become. Wishing is weak. Becoming is war. And that war is won in the battlefield of the mind, long before the world ever sees the result. There will be days you feel nothing is changing. Days when doubt creeps in and whispers lies. But those are the days that matter most. Because in those moments, you are forging a new identity in the fire of persistence. Be like the seed buried under the earth. It looks dead, forgotten, but inside, It's breaking open, quietly, powerfully, preparing to rise. And when it does, no force on earth can stop it. That's who you are. You're becoming in silence. You are shifting right now, even as you hear these words. Because mindset isn't what you do. It's what you choose to believe when no one's watching. It's the moment you decide, I will not be ordinary. I will not accept a life of regret. I will not go to my grave wondering what if. Not now. Not ever. The world bends to those who command their minds. And that command starts with a question. What am I choosing right now? Fear or fire? Are you walking the path of excuses or execution? Are you building a legacy or just surviving another day? Because survival is not your destiny. Creation is. Create your vision. Craft your identity. Forge the discipline that makes your actions louder than your dreams. The world doesn't respond to noise, it responds to intensity. That intensity starts here, with this thought, with this decision. This isn't motivation, this is activation. A mindset so locked in, so dialed, so purely focused on what must be done, that nothing else matters, not opinions, not distractions, not the fear of failing, only the mission. And when your mindset becomes mission-driven, your life becomes miracle-driven. Because purpose is not found, it's built day by day, brick by brick, thought by thought, and the foundation is now. You see, every life-altering transformation begins in silence. No applause, no spotlight, just you and the decision to become something greater than what you were yesterday. That is the great secret. Transformation does not ask permission. It demands commitment. And commitment begins in the dark, long before the world sees the light. Walt Disney stood in front of a swamp and saw an empire. Nelson Mandela sat in a prison cell and saw a nation reborn. They weren't reacting to their surroundings. They were dictating their destiny. This is your turning point, the line in the sand. Because the real shift doesn't happen in 5 years or 5 months. It happens in 5 minutes of brutal self-honesty. Ask yourself, what would happen if I stopped negotiating with weakness? What if I woke up every day and commanded myself to act, instead of waiting to feel like it? Discipline is not punishment. It is alignment. It is the alignment of your actions with your destiny. And once your actions align with your vision, you become unrecognizable to the version of you that settled. The man who honors his word to himself becomes powerful. The woman who says, I will, and then does, becomes unstoppable. Because most people are committed to convenience, not character. But convenience builds comfort, and character builds empires. You don't need a perfect plan. You need relentless follow-through. A fire that says, I will move forward even if I bleed. Even if I'm laughed at. Even if I'm tired, scared, doubting. I move anyway. Because this shift, this 5-minute internal revolution, is not about becoming someone new. It's about remembering who you were before the world taught you to be small. You were not born hesitant. You were not born afraid to speak. You were not born to settle for just enough. That was taught. And anything that was taught can be unlearned. Unlearn the fear. Unlearn the self-doubt. Unlearn the belief that the future is not yours to shape. The future is not something you walk into. It is something you build with intention. Like stone stacked on stone. You are the architect. You are the builder. And your mindset is the hammer. There will be days the vision feels far. But the distance is not your enemy. It is your training ground. The delay is not denial. The struggle is not a signal to stop. It is proof that the foundation is being tested. And every storm is a question. How bad do you want it? That's when the shift matters most. Not when you're winning, but when everything feels still. Can you hold the vision in the silence? Can you be loyal to the version of you that no one else sees yet? That's greatness. Because true belief isn't loud. It's quiet. It's the quiet repetition of discipline, the quiet rejection of distraction, the quiet mastery of thoughts that no longer serve you. That's the battle. Not outside you, inside you. And when the inner world is mastered, the outer world follows like a shadow. This is not theory. This is ancient truth, modernized. Carnegie knew it. He said, "Think of yourself as on the threshold of unparalleled success. A whole, clear, glorious life lies before you. Achieve, achieve. But thinking is not enough. You must embody it. You must walk like it's already yours. Speak like the future is already written in gold. Act like the world has already handed you the pen to write the next chapter. And you have, because you're not waiting for the shift anymore. You are the shift. You don't need permission to believe. You don't need evidence to begin. You just need a decision so deep, so violent, so unshakable that your doubt begins to tremble in your presence. That's when life opens up. Not because it got easier, but because you got clearer. Because once the mind is made up, truly made up, the body follows. The actions follow. The results begin to echo the clarity of the original thought. I was made for more. You were made to stretch the limits, to walk into rooms and shift the atmosphere, to build things that last longer than your name. That's legacy. And legacy begins the moment you stop playing the game of average. So let others scroll. Let others wait for a sign. Let others chase distractions dressed up as opportunity. You have chosen to rise, not because it's easy, but because it is true. And truth has a frequency you cannot fake. It cuts through the noise. It draws the right people. It repels the wrong ones. And it aligns you with everything that is meant for your evolution. That's the shift. Not temporary hype, permanent identity. The difference between I hope I can and I know I will. Between living life with your hands open and living life with your fists clenched around purpose. Because this isn't a dream anymore, it's a decision. And that decision has already been made. You're already becoming, already building, already burning the old blueprint and writing a new one, word by word, step by step, breath by breath. The world will notice, but long before they do, you will feel it. You will feel it first in your spine. A rising and unshakable surge, not excitement, not hype, but conviction. Conviction that you are no longer living by chance, but by choice. That is the essence of power, choice. And the moment you reclaim your right to choose, you stop being a slave to circumstance. The world around you may still look the same. The bills, the deadlines, the people who underestimated you, still there. But you are not the same. You walk into the same room, but your posture is different. You speak the same name, but now it carries weight. Why? Because your energy no longer seeks permission. It radiates purpose. That is the power of the mindset shift. It doesn't beg for opportunity. It commands it. You no longer fear failure, because failure is now your teacher. You no longer chase success, because success is now attracted to your discipline. Everything changes the moment you realize you do not need more time. You do not need more money. You do not need more applause. What you need is more intensity behind your intention. There is no magic moment in the future where it all clicks. It clicks when you decide it does, right here, right now, in this second. This is not the beginning of your story. It is the turning point where hesitation dies, where fear gets evicted, where your future stops being a maybe and becomes a must. You want peace? Earn it in the battle between your ears. You want legacy? Forge it in the fire of daily discipline. You want freedom? Then stop asking for it. Build it. Freedom is not found in escape. It's found in mastery. Mastery of thought. Mastery of action. Mastery of identity. And identity is not who you were. It's who you decide to be. over and over and over again until the world has no choice but to adjust its lens to match your new frequency. Let the doubters doubt. Let the small minds gossip. Let the old world try to pull you back into the mud. You are not here to prove anything. You are here to become everything. The version of you that wakes up with fire, that moves through setbacks like water around rock, that stands alone if needed, because solitude is better than smallness. You are not here to fit in. You are here to break molds, to rewire what's possible, to leave behind evidence of what happens when a soul goes all in. And yes, it may start in just 5 minutes, but 5 minutes of clarity, 5 minutes of ruthless honesty, 5 minutes of standing face to face with the man or woman in the mirror and saying, no more excuses, no more delay, no more waiting to be chosen. I choose myself. That is enough to reroute destiny. That is how empires begin, with a whisper that becomes a war cry, with a decision that becomes a revolution, not in the streets, but in the soul. You want a new life? Then give your old one an expiration date. Burn the script. Silence the noise. Pull the pin on the grenade of your potential and detonate. Let it be known. From this day forward, you will not shrink. You will not stall. You will not bow to fear, fatigue, failure, or false identities. You will rise. You will lead. You will become. And when people ask what changed, when they ask how you went from lost to legendary, when they beg to know the secret, tell them it wasn't magic. It wasn't luck. It wasn't some complicated formula. It was a decision, a 5-minute mindset shift so real, so raw, so final, that the old version of you never walked out of that room. Only the future did, and that future is you. You must keep in mind the following. Repetition is the sculptor of your destiny. You will not become what you visualize once. You will become what you visualize consistently, daily, obsessively, until your brain starts adjusting your behaviors, your standards, your environment to match that inner self-image. That's not magic. That's biology. So listen this lesson again and again and again until it gets installed in your brain and in your subconscious mind, until you realize the results you seek.